Alright boys, let's jump straight into the biggest elephant in the room again. Zahin. Riot's newest creation magically transformed from a sick Darkin support concept into a bruiser top lane with Xin Zhao passport in record time. Even Riot openly admitted that the original idea of a Darkin support sounded amazing, and it honestly did. But once they actually saw the kit on paper, they realized he had absolutely nothing supportive in his DNA. At best, he would have been a word bike alternative, and nobody needed another one of those. So they sent him to top lane instead, but his kit actually makes sense, and honestly, fair enough. But this video isn't about Zahin specifically. This is about Riot's latest jungle patch circus, where they basically grabbed half the champion roster and tossed random buffs at them. So let's break down what actually matters, what affects the jungle meta, and what's just a placebo pretending to be a balance change. And as always, we are going to keep it real. Starting off with Skarner. Riot believes Skarner is finally heading in the right direction, whatever that means. They are giving him a bit of AD growth, lowering his Q cooldown a tiny amount, and bumping his Q damage up a bit. Is this enough to suddenly make Skarner broken? Obviously not, but it's a healthy little nudge. The kind of buff that doesn't break anything but still feels good to have. Skarner needs time after the rework, and these changes simply support that. Honestly, one of the few changes I actually agree with. Small, simple, effective. Now let's talk about Aatrox. Riot seems desperate to make this champion a jungle. They are buffing his passive and increasing his Q damage at later ranks, which sounds big on paper, but the issue isn't his damage or his clear. Aatrox already clears jungle camps around 3 minutes 15 seconds clear, which is pretty crazy for a non-jungler. His real problem are his lack of gank setup, no instant CC, and a kit that simply doesn't support consistent jungle play. You can't just slap more numbers onto him and force him into the role. So while you will definitely see people try him, I don't expect Aatrox to even become a reliable jungler unless Riot actually gives him some tools that fit the role. Now moving on to Ambessa. This one I don't even know. Riot is giving her Q more damage to jungle monsters, and suddenly she might show up there more often. Don't be shocked when you start seeing a mess up from time to time. But personally, I think it's terrible direction. She is already oppressive as a bruiser skirmisher, and buffing more bruisers for the jungle just contributes to that unhealthy bruiser heavy meta the game already struggles with. Riot sometimes buffs champions for what feels like no reason at all, and this is definitely one of those moments. Then we have Cho'Gath, and this is actually a good one. Buffing Cho for the jungle makes sense. He is not really played top anymore, AP mid, Cho is dead, and he's fun tank with a unique identity. Tanks are okay, the jungle needs them, and he deserves some love, and Cho actually fits the role. Jayce on the other hand, oh boy. Jayce jungle. This is absolutely bizarre. Jayce is one of the hardest champions in the entire game to play properly in the top lane, let alone in the jungle. And no, he's not easy. I don't care what anyone says, if you claim Jayce is simple, you are coping on a level that should honestly be studied in a lab. The amount of execution, spacing, combo precision, and lane management required to play this champion well is insane. And Riot seriously thinks the general player base can handle Jayce in the jungle. It makes absolutely no sense. Riot has a history of messing this champion up every single time he gets popular. Remember Tank Jayce one-shotting people? Exactly. And now they are pushing him into the jungle where he absolutely does not belong. And Jayce should stay where he belongs in top lane or mid. This change is just absurd. Next up is Malphite jungle. His W now deals more damage to monsters, which is fine I guess. But Malphite jungle is literally the most one-dimensional, boring playstyle you can imagine. You full clear, hit level 6 and pray you hit a good ult. That's it. We already have enough junglers like that. Why Riot keeps buffing off-road champions instead of improving traditional tank junglers is a mystery at this point. These Malphite buffs won't change much. People in the jungle still don't want to pick him. And then there's Riven. Oh man, Riven jungle. Yet another high skill cap champion Riot wants people to try in a role where 99% of players will simply not be able to use her correctly. Riven is already a balancing nightmare in top lane. Every time they buff her, Riven may start celebrating. Everyone else starts crying, and Riot eventually removes the buffs again. It's a cycle every season. Trying to force her into the jungle is insanity. Unless you are a dedicated Riven one trick, there is absolutely no reason to pick her up in the jungle. And even if you do, Riot will likely remove her jungle buffs later anyway. It's pointless and temporary. Now let's talk about Sion. He's getting a small boost to his Q monster modifier and that's fine. Sion jungle is already somewhat playable, not amazing, not terrible, just decent. These buffs simply smooth things out for the early clear. If you like Sion or if you're a Baus fan and want to bring that energy to the jungle, this is your time. It's a fun pick and this buff only helps. Rek'Sai is being touched as well, but those changes only affect her top lane performance, no jungle. If you watch High Elo or Worlds, you know why. Top lane Rek'Sai was becoming a big problem, while jungle Rek'Sai stays the same. Strong, aggressive, fun, and consistent. That's good news for jungle mates. And now, Fizz jungle. Yeah, this is real. Riot generally wants to make Fizz jungle a thing. I don't understand it either. The changes will help him survive the jungle more consistently, but don't expect world-class clear speeds. With enough practice, Fizz jungle might actually be playable, especially in elos where people forget what Fog of War is. But as long-term consistent jungler, no, not really. It's just Riot doing Riot things. Mundo is getting a bug fix, and for some reason more E damage as compensation, because what the game absolutely needed was a champion who can be unkillable with anti-heal and simultaneously deal insane damage. It's fun when you are the Mundo, but completely miserable for everyone else. This is the kind of update I really don't like to see in the game, not just in jungle, but in any role at all. And lastly, Sunfire Aegis. It's getting a small buff, and tanks overall are receiving minor improvement, but Sunfire simply isn't a good first item anymore. Even with this buff, only a handful of champions will ever buy it early. It's not enough to revive the item's old status. It's just a tiny buff to make Riot feel like they did something. So overall, most of these jungle changes are honestly placebo. A lot of small numbers that technically make champions better in the jungle, but nothing overwhelming that will flip the meta on its head. Aatrox getting even better clear speed when his clear is already insane makes no sense. His jungle existing is ridiculous. And bruisers keep getting random buffs for absolutely no reason. But what do you think? Is there any champion you are excited to try after these changes? Let me know in the comments and also tell me what videos you want to see next. Thanks for watching and I will see you all in my next video. Peace.